China just detonated an economic bomb, not with missiles, but with numbers. In a stunning response to Trump's latest wave of sanctions, Beijing has announced 1,000% tariffs on select American goods, blindsiding U.S. exporters and sending shockwaves through Wall Street. This isn't your typical trade dispute. This is economic warfare with the gloves off. From agriculture to tech, entire sectors now face price walls too steep to climb. As American industries scrambled to assess the damage, one question echoes through boardrooms and trading floors alike. Did Trump just trigger a trade war the U.S. can't win? Stay with us, because what comes next could redefine global power and shake the very foundation of U.S. economic dominance. In January 2025, former President Donald Trump reignited tensions with Beijing by proposing sweeping new sanctions and tariffs, targeting over $300 billion, 0 cents in Chinese exports. His administration framed it as a bold move to protect American industries, but Beijing didn't blink. Instead, it retaliated with a move no one saw coming. A staggering 1,000% tariff on critical U.S. imports, including aerospace components, agricultural goods, and microchip equipment. According to Chinese Ministry of Commerce, the tariffs took effect within days, impacting over 120 U.S. companies and redirecting billions in trade overnight. Products that once flowed smoothly into Chinese ports were instantly priced out of the market, forcing American exporters to cancel shipments and rewrite contracts on the fly. This wasn't symbolic. This was strategic. China specifically targeted industries heavily dependent on the Chinese consumer base: soybeans, aircraft parts, semiconductors, sectors where U.S. firms can't easily find alternative buyers. The result? A brutal economic shock that's already triggering layoffs in Midwestern farming communities and stock drops in major manufacturing firms. Markets have reacted with panic. Global supply chains, already strained from years of disruptions, are now facing a new and more unpredictable fracture point. And this time, there's no easy way back. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind to Trump's first term. In 2018, the U.S. launched a full-blown trade war with China, imposing hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs on Chinese goods. The goal? To reduce America's trade deficit and pressure Beijing over intellectual property theft and unfair trade practices. China responded with its own tariffs, targeting U.S. farmers, automakers, and tech firms. By 2020, a temporary truce was reached, the so-called Phase 1 deal, but deep distrust lingered. Fast forward to 2025, with Trump back in office, his administration wasted no time reigniting the battle. Citing national security concerns, he slapped aggressive new sanctions on Chinese tech firms and proposed a blanket 60% tariff on all Chinese imports, a move twice as extreme as anything in his first term. China's 1,000% tariff isn't just retaliation, it's a message. Beijing is done playing defense. With years of preparation, domestic manufacturing upgrades, and new trade alliances in place, China now feels strong enough to strike back hard. And for the first time, U.S. industry is learning what it's like to be on the receiving end of an economic superpower's wrath. The fallout from China's 1,000% tariffs has been swift and severe. Major American exporters are already feeling the pain. Agricultural giants like Cargill and Archer Daniels Midland have reported canceled soybean contracts, while tech firms dependent on Chinese buyers, especially in semiconductor equipment and aerospace, are watching their sales pipelines evaporate overnight. Small and mid-sized manufacturers, many of whom depend on Chinese partnerships, are also in crisis mode. With their goods now priced out of one of the world's largest markets, they face two options: eat the losses or exit China entirely. Neither is sustainable. Even Wall Street isn't immune. Stocks tied to export-heavy sectors, farming, aviation, industrial machinery, took an immediate hit following the announcement. Analysts warn this could be just the beginning. If China extends its tariff policy to more sectors, it could choke off over $100 billion, 0 cents, in annual U.S. exports. And there's no quick fix. Replacing China with alternative markets isn't just difficult, it's nearly impossible in the short term. With global trade routes still recovering from the pandemic and supply chains already overstretched, U.S. industries are bracing for a long and painful adjustment. China's 1,000% tariff response wasn't made in anger. It was calculated. Rather than matching Trump's tariffs tit for tat, Beijing chose a move that would deliver maximum pain with minimal effort. By targeting key U.S. industries that rely heavily on Chinese demand, China exposed the soft underbelly of America's export economy. But there's a deeper play at work. Beijing isn't just punishing the U.S., it's pushing forward a broader strategic shift. For years, China has been working to reduce its reliance on American goods, while building stronger trade links with BRICS nations, ASEAN partners, and Belt and Road allies. With its economy retooled and its domestic demand more self-reliant, China is now flexing its leverage. Moreover, by using tariffs instead of diplomatic rhetoric, China sends a clear signal to the world. It can defend its interests without firing a shot. Just by moving numbers on a spreadsheet. It's economic warfare in the age of globalization. And the timing is no accident. With global markets already uncertain and U.S. elections fueling volatility, China's bold strike positions it not as a reactive power, but a calculated leader, ready to shape the next era of trade. China's tariff shockwave didn't stop at American shores. It jolted the entire global economy. Countries that rely on U.S.-China trade are now caught in the crossfire. Southeast Asian nations, which export raw materials for American goods assembled in China, are bracing for disruption. European markets slid as fears of a broader trade slowdown took hold. Emerging economies, especially those aligned with China through BRICS and Belt and Road, are taking notes. Many see Beijing's bold retaliation as a signal that it's willing to challenge U.S. dominance head-on. Some may even start shifting trade policies to hedge against future sanctions or tariff wars. Meanwhile, international companies are accelerating efforts to de-Americanize their supply chains. From Berlin to Bangkok, boardrooms are reassessing risk. And the U.S. is no longer the assumed safe bet. The global balance of trade is tilting. And fast. This isn't just about tariffs. It's about a shifting world order. For decades, the United States held unmatched control over global trade. But China's 1,000% tariff move signals a deeper transformation. The rise of a new economic rival, not afraid to confront Washington directly. With digital currencies, alternate payment systems, and a growing network of trade alliances, China is building a parallel global economy, one that functions with or without U.S. involvement. Trump's aggressive policies meant to reassert American dominance may have unintentionally accelerated that shift. What we're witnessing is not a trade war. It's a battle to redefine who sets the rules of the global marketplace. And while the U.S. still holds power, the days of unilateral control may be slipping away. The question now isn't whether China is rising, it's whether the world is ready to follow. The global economy just hit a turning point, and the shock came not from Wall Street, but from Beijing. China's 1,000% tariffs aren't just retaliation. They're a declaration that the old trade rules no longer apply. As U.S. industries scramble and markets reel, one thing is clear. The era of uncontested American economic dominance is fading fast. What comes next may not be decided by elections or speeches, but by who controls the flows of trade, technology, and trust. And right now, China is making its move, boldly, strategically, and without hesitation. So the real question isn't what Trump will do next. It's whether the U.S. can adapt before the next blow lands. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth global analysis.